Futile means something you do something, you do an activity, but there's no point to it. It gives you no result. You get no result.
Oh, wasting time. It's like wasting time. Yeah,
It's like what?
wasting time.
I'm not sure what that word is you're saying. Can you write that?
Wasting time.
Waste. Okay,
Just waste.
yeah. It's like wasting time. It's like wasting time. Alex, can you read the sentence that's up on the screen? Can you see it?
It's okay. It's futile to agree with someone who refuses to listen.
Okay, to listen. So that's right. It's a waste of time to argue with someone
Oh,
who refuses to listen. Alex, can you read the first three words?
it's futile to.
Okay. Now, the thing about English is that some vowel sounds can be very big and some vowel sounds can be very small. And
Mhm,
the more you pay attention to that, the easier it will be to understand what you're saying. So
mhm.
there's only one big vowel sound in that phrase. It's futile to.
You,
It's futile
yeah,
to.
you. Mm, futile to.
So it's futile to. Pachu, can you say that? It's futile to.
It's futile to.
It's futile to. Pachu, what are the next two words?
Is argue with.
Argue with. Argue with. What is the
Argue with.
which vowel sound has the big sound?
Is R.
Okay, R, R. So the other sounds are small. So it's futile to argue with.
It's futile to argue with.
We'll add the word with to it. So it's futile to argue with.
It's futile to argue with.
Alex, can you say that? Can you read that?
Do you want me to read it? Yeah.
Can you read that? It's futile to argue with.
It's futile to argue with.
Mm-hmm. So the only two big sounds are few and R. It's futile
Oh,
to
yeah.
argue with.
It's futile to argue with.
Okay. What, Alex? What are the next two words?
With someone who.
Someone who. Someone who. Someone who. What is the big sound in there? Which part of that gets the big sound?
Someone who.
Someone who.
It's someone who.
Uh, the thing is that it could be any word. You could make any word big if you want, but that changes the meaning. The way that I'm saying it, someone who. Which, if you just listen,
Someone.
which word am I saying in a big
Okay.
way?
Some.
Some. That's right.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong to make who big, but it could change the idea. We're just doing a neutral sentence here. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and what we're doing is we're building a big, small, big, small, big, small pattern that's very typical of English. Okay. It's futile to argue with someone who.
Okay. It's futile to argue with someone who.
Okay. Pachu, can you say that whole phrase?
It's futile to argue with someone who.
Okay. Now, Pachu, what are the last three words?
Refuses to listen.
Okay. Refuses to listen. What are the big sounds?
Refuse. 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 Fuse.
Fuse.
Refuse.
So we've got fuse.
Yeah. Refuse.
That's extra big because this is the z sound, and that's a sound in your throat. So it's not fuse,
Yes.
it's fuse. It's very big because of
So
that z sound. Refuses.
refuses. Refuses.
Any other big sounds? Refuses to listen.
Listen. Lee.
Okay. Lis,
listen,
listen.
lis,
li-
lis, lis.
less, less.
Oh,
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
Alex, can you say the entire phrase?
it's futile. It's futile. It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
Okay. Can you say it's futile to? It's futile to.
It's a futile. It's futile to argue with
Mhm.
someone who refuses to listen.
Just repeat after me. It's futile to. It's futile to.
It's a, it's a futile to. Yeah.
It's futile to argue with.
It's a futile to argue with.
It's futile to argue with someone.
It's a futile to argue with someone.
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses.
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses.
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
Pachu, can you say the whole phrase again?
Okay. It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
How many phrases can we divide this sentence into?
So is it two?
Oh, what are the two
True,
phrases?
yeah.
So it's futile to argue with someone
Okay.
is the first,
And what is the second?
and the next is who refuses to listen.
Okay. Alex, what do you think? Do you want to, if we say it's futile to argue with someone, do you want this to sound nice and friendly and happy, or do you want it to sound serious?
Actually, it's more serious.
Okay. So that means
It's
that
more serious.
we want to finish our phrase completely low. We don't want any high tones at the end of our phrase. But uh, phrases in English usually start high. Okay, so we're going to start our phrase on a high note. The music
Mm-hmm.
will be high in the beginning, but will end low. It's futile to argue with someone like that. So you start high, futile, and then you finish low, someone.
To
Futile,
argue with
someone.
someone, yeah.
It's futile to argue with someone. Can you try to say it with a little bit of music?
It's futile to argue with someone.
Okay, Pachu, can you say that?
It's futile to argue with someone.
Okay. And Pachu, in the second phrase, how do you want to sound? Do you want to sound serious or do you want to sound uh, happy and nice and friendly?
Is it serious?
Okay.
Serious.
Serious, serious. So you have to pay attention to the long sounds and the short sounds. Serious, serious.
Serious.
Okay. So
Serious.
what color should listen be?
Is it blue?
It's blue. Okay. All right. So
Yes.
listen, listen. But how will you start your phrase? How do you want that to start?
Is a high tone and the red.
Who refu-
Refutes.
who refuses to listen?
Refuses to listen.
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
Alex, can you say the whole phrase? The whole sentence?
Okay, it's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
hmm Just take your time a little bit, though. When you get to the big sounds, you can take your time a little bit. Don't go too quickly. It's
Okay.
futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
It's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen.
hmm Alex, what is your native language?
No, actually, Arabic.
That's what I thought, but then I thought Alex doesn't sound like a very Arabic name.
It's not Alex is my nickname. It's not my real name.
Oh,
But
okay.
my real name it's very hard to pronounce it. That's why I give it. I give myself a nickname to make it easy for people around me.
Oh, okay. What is your real?
Even the people, even the people who work with me for years, they cannot pronounce my name.
What is it?
What was like very fun is Iskander.
Iskander.
Yeah, Iskander.
Is
The
that a
bad people that very hard to.
Is that an Arabic?
It's actually it's not. It's a could be a like Greek or Persian name.
Oh, that's like
It's a Greek. It's
that's like an Arabic
the
version
Great Alexander.
of Alex, right?
No,
Iskander or Iskander.
Al
Iskander.
Iskander. Yeah,
Uh,
Iskander. It's a Greek or Virgin a Persian name. You know,
uh,
it's like like the Great Alexander. You know, but
mm,
here in the country I live, it's very hard to pronounce the name. So that's why I give myself Alex. You know.
mm.
Uh,
I see Sarah. Sarah has joined us. Oh, Sarah, we already have two people. Sometimes I only have one, and I think, oh, where's Sarah? I know she wants to practice, but but we already have two people. We can't do three. It just gets so confusing. But I wish I would see you earlier when I only had one. Okay, Alex. Can you make how would you make a why question with it's futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen? How will you make a why question with that sentence?
Sorry, there is an echo in the. What do you want to make it a question?
It, there's an echo.
Do you want to make it a question?
Yes. Can you?
Yeah, there's an echo.
How will you make a
Yeah,
why question? Can you make a why question? Why futile argue with someone?
why it is futile to argue with someone?
Hmm. Okay, but you have to use the question form. That is not the question form. That is a statement form.
Why is it? Why is it?
Yeah.
Why is it futile?
Do the whole question. Make the whole question.
Okay, why is it futile to argue with someone refuses to listen?
Okay, now, so because you're making a why question, that word why is very
Mhm.
important. Okay, so it becomes big.
Mm,
Why?
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 Why? Yeah, yeah.
Compare that.
Why is it?
Yeah, so that's how it sounds. It says,
Yeah.
why?
Why is it? Yeah.
Why is it? Why is it?
Why is it?
Why is it?
Why is it? Yeah.
Why is it futile?
Why is it futile? Yeah.
Why is it futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen?
Why is it futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen?
Pachu, can you make that question? Why is it futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen?
Why is it futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen?
How will we answer that? What do you call someone who refuses to listen? What is the word that you could use for that?
Could be stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Stubborn. Make that big. Stubborn. Stubborn.
Stubborn.
Stub-
Stubborn.
you know that word, Pachu? Stubborn.
yes,
You could
yes.
also say, well, I'm just going to write that here. Stubborn. You could say pig-headed.
Stubborn.
That's another one. Pig-headed.
Okay,
Yeah.
period.
Pig-headed. Pig-headed.
Mhm.
Have
What
you
is
ever,
what
what?
is chicken head?
What?
What is chicken head?
Chicken head?
Chicken headed, yeah.
Chicken headed? I've never. Is that what you say in Nepal? Chicken headed?
No, sir.
No, I've never heard that before. Chicken headed. Is that? Let me ask ChatGPT. I've never heard that. Chicken headed meaning
Yeah, I guess it is
coward.
coward people.
Oh well.
A
Yeah,
chicken. A
Yeah,
chicken. Yeah.
yeah. If you just
Chicken,
say,
not a chicken.
yeah, if you just say chicken, that means coward. You chicken. That's very
yeah.
common. That's very common to call someone a chicken, and that means you're a coward. But if you say someone is pig-headed, when you have two words together like that, you always put the emphasis on the first word. Pig, not always, almost always. Pig-headed, pig-headed.
But I am not seeing the word. Why?
You're not seeing what? Oh no. Okay.
The word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me. Oh,
Just try to minimize it a little bit.
yeah. I'm having technical difficulties. Here we go. Okay,
It's okay.
I
It's
changed
okay.
it.
Yes. Yes. Now, yeah.
So
Okay. I see. Yeah.
So if
Kind
I
of, yeah.
say Pachu, why is it futile to argue with someone who refuses to listen? What would you answer?
So It is pig-headed.
Well, because they
They are
are pig-headed. They are pig-headed. The people are pig-headed.
they are pig-headed.
They're pig-headed.
They are pig-headed.
Okay.
Pig-headed.
Uh, Alex, why is it futile to argue with
Yes,
someone who refuses to listen?
because they are arrogant.
Okay, because they're arrogant. Where's the big sound in that word?
Arrogant.
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 Okay, so you have to make that bigger. That would help you very much
Arrogant.
in being understood if you hit those
Arrogant.
big sounds.
Okay.
So because they're arrogant.
Arrogant.
Yeah. Say the whole
Because
sentence.
they are arrogant. Yeah.
Because arrogant.
Because
Arrogant.
because they are arrogant.
Okay.
Arrogant. Because they are arrogant. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So that was our final word for today. I thank you, Alex, for joining us. Sorry you joined us late.
Oh,
Uh,
that's okay.
Thank you,
At least
sir.
it's worked. It's worked this time. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll be ready for the next time.
Okay. Or also Sarah. Wait, let's see. Is Sarah here? Sarah's on mute though. But Sarah, I was hoping that you would join us in some of these times when I only had one or nobody, but I didn't see you. But keep coming back, Sarah. don't,
Yeah.
don't disappear. Okay.
Okay. Next time I will participate with you, inshallah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank
So thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for participating and asking
Okay.
questions. And I think I'll be back in about what time is it? I'll be back in about 9 hours if you want to join me then. Okay. All right.
We'll be waited. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay, sir.
have a good day, and I'll see all of you later. Okay.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Bye bye.
Bye.